All right. Here we have a Sony DVD HDD hard disk drive recording. I'm sorry, it's a Hitachi. Got its little screen right here, and we're going to take this apart and see what's in it. This one doesn't have a whole lot of monetary value. Some of these things do go up, but not all of them. And this is a perfect example of not all of them. And we're going to see what's inside it. So I think I got most of the screws. Well, maybe this is supposed to pop apart. I think I needed to have a battery in it that I don't have. So, chop chop. Yep. That was what was supposed to come in. So here is a DVD. This is a little bit bigger than a mini disc, but not obviously a full DVD size. So we might save this to microwave and do a cool video. Now we're going to open this, see what else we can find. Terrible, terrible. Can't see the things in front of me. I've been working on making sure I get most of the screws out beforehand, so you guys just don't have to listen to me tell you my great stories. And some of the stories, you know, if I tell them in this and they're immortalized, and I don't want to talk about current events in this, I could say businessy stuff that stays true, like I did a video this morning on silver, and the fear of missing out, and how a bunch of people were smart and sold at 120, and a bunch of people like me held on, but I bought low so I could hold on. And the whole goal, I never want to get rid of anything, but you got to remember, at some point, the whole point of making money is to use the money. You want to build generational wealth for sure, but holding on to everything and never getting rid of it doesn't do any good if you never use it to leverage it. So, you know, if you don't spend the money you saved on that investment property or the silver or whatever, it does no good. So you gotta remember, at some point, holding defeats the purpose of holding. So this thing just looks packed. And I bet you it is packed with all sorts of great goodies. All right, a little bit further here. So here we got the cool lens. Now, in the old days, you know, these actually put themselves onto film, you know, 33 millimeter, 35 millimeter, 28 millimeter, all sorts of the different kinds of actual chemical interactions. Then we started with VCRs and VHS recordings. Betamax existed for a bit, DVD, HD DVD, Blu-ray, but everything pretty much went to some sort of solid storage like a hard drive. Now we do all this on our cell phone in a higher video quality than most dedicated devices. So everything has changed, which has made a lot of this stuff just blatantly obsolete. I grew up behind the lens, and everything I learned with is a shelf decoration now. I wish they would have brought back, it used to be, for your SLRs that took 35 millimeter film, they had a plate that went inside the camera, and where the shutter actually opened, it exposed a piece of digital media to kind of like this guy, turning its actual vision of what you're seeing through a lens into something the camera, the digital world understood, and then you could use your old device that you loved so much and make it a camera. But they died out in the 90s, and I guess it's just based on technology. But you can see there's a little tiny motor to pull this mechanical zoom in and out. And there's, you know, mechanical zoom and there's optical zoom. Optical zoom is what you have on most cell phones where, you know, when you pinch in and out, it gets blurry and doesn't maintain the quality. And an optical zoom is something where it actually moves the lens around to create a different zoom and a different focus. So this would have had that. And I don't know if I'll be able to translate that to the camera, but you can see this here. So your focus and your zoom, and then if you're looking right in there, you can see that lens come up and go. And then that guy went to this, which turned it into that digital media. Now this looks like it's got a good little bit of gold content, and we're gonna do something with that different. We have the lens cap, we have a ribbon cable right here, and then just some base metal. We have a ribbon cable right there. Here is the DVD recorder. So you have your drive motor, your laser and its motor. And for all the cool technology stuff we have, I still think our ability to make these miniature motors, and this is nothing, I mean, in the terms of small, is so neat. You know, nuclear technology takes a lot of smarts. But an atom's going to do what an atom's going to do, and we're just containing it. And even though it takes wicked smart to do it, it's still not something like building these tiny things that take physical manufacturing processes. And I'm always blown away by it. How tiny we can make these ribbon cables. So we're going to take that, this, and this, and put it in with our cables to sort later. This little motor and this little motor and this little motor, I'm just going to throw in my electrical motor box. And let's see, we got some basic controls right here. I mean, like I said, this thing is just filled with goodies. I haven't taken apart one of these style ever. Mostly because they just weren't very common, like I said. They were the rage for everything, but like every bit of technology, it's come and gone. You know, I don't even know what number iPhone we're on, 17 or something. And you do more in your pocket with a cell phone than we did back in the 90s with a trunk full of stuff. So that's gonna go. We've done a bunch of stuff like that, so we'll ignore it for this video. Here is your microphone, your AV in and out cable, your USB port. That's mini USB, which was before micro, if anyone remembers it. There's USB A, C. I want to say there's the B is the printer one, then micro, then mini. USB-C took over because of the European Union, actually, because that's why Apple switched away from the Lightning, because the EU made a law preventing you from having so many charging cables. And Apple gave up to the EU. And that's why we have USB-C, thank God. And now they're creating something new again, I'm told. So, little ribbon cables and boards. It does look like there's a good little bit of gold and population in there. So I'm going to assume this is actually a mid or a high grade. I'm going to throw it in with my high grade. Here's a nice high grade board. Small. You don't have a lot of weight, obviously. But look at that. We're double-sided. We're full of ribbon connectors and gold plate. We got IC chips in there. So both of those are going to turn out to be good. So again, despite the fact we're not heavy, we're still got value. And this would have just been, something like this is so easy to get overlooked and turned right into the landfill. Especially when someone says, oh, I heard you say gold. I heard you say gold. What was that worth? $100? $50, and I'm like, no, it was worth, you know, $1.50. And it certainly doesn't seem worth it, except for, again, that commitment. I'm in a bunch of great scrap groups. If anyone's interested, shoot me a message. I'll invite you to some of them. And it's everything from the guys scrapping cars and refrigerators to the guys recycling this stuff. And the scrap groups are by far and away one of the friendliest, most inviting groups. I see lots of warnings about, you know, oh, you shouldn't do that in your bare hands. Oh, make sure you have a fume hood. You know, we were joking earlier. I said, what, I need a fume hood? And someone's response is, if you like to continue breathing. So, and guys will share designs and all of that. And that's just super neat to be part of something like that, where it's like-minded people trying to help and make a profit. And it is cleaning. It is. We are lucky to live in an area where we are. Scrap, for example, changes so much based on how far from the coast you are, because it's all got to get to the coast and be shipped around the globe, overseas, wherever. So a little bit of copyright there, so that if you are in like Iowa, for example, you may be getting $90 a ton when we're getting $200, and it's ridiculous. So we're lucky to have AMG, used to be Strauss right near us. Great partner to work with, plus a lot of the small guys. So we're really out there, and we're a hub for that, believe it or not. And that's something really cool. Much like, did you know we have a harbor master? Did you know we fix tugboats over here on the Ohio? I think that's really neat, that's just right out there in Bel Air. While I've been rambling, you've seen me pull a lot of these little parts out, mostly because it's aluminum for its lightweight nature. And you can even see, look at the size of this little board right there that came out of there. And every little bit counts, because technology advances so quickly, it's very, very easy to pollute. And it takes a lot of effort to make all of this. And lithium mining for lithium-ion batteries is very toxic. So the more we can recycle, the better. And it takes everybody, you know, you don't have to do this part, but it does take everybody to make sure it gets in the hands of somebody. Doesn't necessarily need to be me, but somebody that does what I do. Or it could be big box, you know, just making sure your batteries end up back at, you know, anywhere from a guy like me or Lowe's and Home Depot, to make sure that they're getting properly recycled instead of going into the landfill and leaching. Same with TVs. You know, everything like this that goes in there, if it's got chemicals in it, it's getting buried, and it's better than throwing it over the hillside, but it still needs to be done. So I think we are just going to show you these last couple pieces, and then we're going to be done with this. But we got those cool little boards here, and that is the end of this video.